It's hard to make the case that anyone other than the Canadian superstar Summer McIntosh is the best swimmer in the world in the year 2025. After she had an incredible year in 2024, she somehow managed to continue building on that this past season. During last summer's Paris Olympics, Summer McIntosh, then just 17 years old, came home with 3 individual gold medals, winning gold in both the 200 and 400 IMs, as well as the 200 butterfly, and a silver medal in the 400 freestyle. That medal haul, coupled with the fact that she was the world record holder in the 400 IM and the former world record holder in the 400 freestyle, may have been enough for most swimmers, but Summer McIntosh is going to continue to aim much higher in 2025. Her main goal for the 2025 World Championships was to win 5 individual gold medals, golds in the 4 events that she swam in Paris, as well as one new one that she would still decide on. McIntosh had a ridiculous performance during the Canadian World's team trials. She reclaimed her world record in the 400 freestyle, lowered her own world record in the 400 IM, and broke the 200 IM world record for the first time ever, breaking 3 world records at that meet. In the 2 events where she didn't set world records, McIntosh was still crazy fast. She blasted the 2nd fastest 200 butterfly swim ever, as well as the 3rd fastest 800 freestyle swim of all time, putting her within a second of Katie Ledecky's world record in that event. And as you may have guessed from that lineup, Summer McIntosh has now selected her 5th event for the World Championships, the 800 freestyle, an event where she would need to square off against the dominant Katie Ledecky if she wanted to come home with all gold medals. So, how fast was Summer McIntosh at the 2025 World Championships? McIntosh kicked things off with a dominant win in her first final of the meet, the 400 freestyle, as she clocked a 3:56.26 to win the event by nearly 2 full seconds. While it wasn't faster than her own world record in the event, it was the 5th fastest swim ever recorded. Notably, McIntosh didn't hang around and celebrate her victory here, because she had to go and get ready for the semifinals of the 200 IM that same session, where less than half an hour later, she clocked the fastest time out of the semifinals for the #1 seed by a full second. After pulling that off, in a post-race interview, McIntosh said that the double was easier than she thought it would be, which is pretty ice cold if you ask me, and I love it. Of course, that means the next swim out of McIntosh was that final in the 200 IM. Here, it was once again the Summer McIntosh show the whole way through, as she led this race from wall to wall and ended up touching first by nearly 2 full seconds again. It's also interesting to note that her time from the semifinals with that double with the 400 freestyle would have also won the gold medal if she had just repeated it in the final instead of getting any faster. With a winning time of 2:06.69, McIntosh's performance was very similar to her 400 free swim. Not as fast as her own world record, but still one of the fastest swims ever, this time the 7th fastest 200 IM in history. We're 2 events in, and that's 2 gold medals for Summer McIntosh. After scaring the world record in the 200 butterfly earlier in the year at the Canadian trials, all eyes were on the race between Summer McIntosh and that world record line during the women's 200 butterfly final. McIntosh shot out ahead of the rest of the field over the first 50 meters, chasing down that world record line. At the first turn, she had already opened up a lead of over half a second, while being just 300ths off of that world record pace. At the 100 turn, McIntosh was leading the rest of the swimmers in the final by over a second and a half, making sure there was no question on who was going to touch first, but she did lose some ground to the world record here. Then, after the next 50 meters, McIntosh turned under world record pace for the first time in the entire race, a full 2/10 under, as she outsplit the world record line by half a second on that third 50. Down the home stretch, Summer McIntosh flew home to an insane time of 2:01.99, becoming just the 2nd swimmer ever to crack the 2:02 barrier and come within tenths of that world record time of 2:01.81. And based off of her reaction after the race, it's pretty clear what she was aiming for at this meet. In this gold medal race, McIntosh absolutely destroyed the entire field. She touched exactly 3 seconds ahead of silver medalist Regan Smith, and Smith isn't exactly a pushover in the 200 fly. She's the 4th fastest performer of all time. After winning her 3rd gold medal of the meet, it was time for the ultimate test for Summer McIntosh, the women's 800 freestyle, where she would be squaring off against the ever-dominant Katie Ledecky during her fastest year ever in this event. Ledecky took control of the race right from the start, with McIntosh staying right there with her as well, and in a surprise to nearly everybody watching, Aussie Lonnie Pallister stayed in the mix with these two. These 3 swimmers broke away from the other 5 swimmers in the fight final as they battled against one another. For 700 meters, the order remained Ledecky, McIntosh, Pallister, but during that time, they were all within striking distance of each other, making it anyone's race to win. As the swimmers began the final 200 meters, McIntosh started making her move, and at the 700-meter turn, she had taken the lead from Ledecky with just 100 meters to go. But after that turn, Ledecky started to make her move and took the lead back from McIntosh. Then on the final 50, it was time for Pallister to make a charge, attempting to even run down Ledecky as McIntosh faded to finish in third. While McIntosh was clearly looking for her 4th gold medal here, and her time from trials would have won this event, she was still an integral part of making this race one of my absolute favorites that I've ever watched. And of course, an 8:07 is still incredibly fast, and a bronze medal is quite the accomplishment given how little she's raced this event compared to her other events. If I had to guess, I would say that McIntosh burnt herself out too much making her move to get that lead at the 700-meter turn, and just ran out of steam over the last 100 meters, and she was up against 2 swimmers that go all the way up to 1500 meters, so they were able to really press that advantage. Realistically, in order to win this race, McIntosh probably needs to rely on her better opening speed and lead from the front the entire way, but the problem is that Ledecky knows this and doesn't let her get that lead, because she's also very comfortable pushing the pace very early on. After a likely disappointing bronze medal in her most difficult event to win, McIntosh would close out this meet with the biggest slam dunk in her entire lineup, the 400 IM. That almost guaranteed gold medal was apparent right from the start. Over the first 50 meters of this 400-meter race, McIntosh opened up a body-length lead, turning over a second ahead of Katie Grimes. As the race progressed, McIntosh continually extended her lead. It was never a question of whether or not McIntosh would win this race. It was a question of how much would she win it by. And the answer was a whopping 7.5 seconds as she smashed this field in dominant fashion. With that, Summer McIntosh has completed her 2025 World Championships, walking away with 5 total medals, 4 gold medals and 1 bronze, all of them coming in individual events. A frankly ridiculous haul. If we take a second to zoom out and look at Summer McIntosh's overall resume, it is very impressive. Right now, in just long course world's medals, she has 8 gold medals, 1 silver medal, and 2 bronze medals, as well as 2 more bronze medals coming on relays. She has now won triple golds in both the 400 IM and the 200 butterfly, and these would technically be 3-peats if it wasn't for the 2024 World Championships kind of throwing a wrench into that, and she just won her first ever world titles in both the 200 IM and 400 freestyle. When it comes to individual world titles, that makes Summer McIntosh the 7th most decorated athlete ever, tied with Caleb Dressel for golds with some extra minor medals. And of course, this adds onto her collection of 3 Olympic gold medals and 1 silver medal from last summer's Olympics. McIntosh of course became a triple world record holder in the long course pool this year, as she now owns the world records in the 400 IM, 400 freestyle, and 200 IM. In addition to being the fastest of all time in 3 events, she's also the 2nd fastest all time in 2 more events, being just 0.18 seconds away from the world record in the 200 butterfly and 0.95 seconds away from the world record in the 800 freestyle. This also might be very easy to forget, but with a best time of 1:53.65, Summer McIntosh is actually the 5th fastest swimmer ever in the 200 freestyle, adding yet another event that she is world class in. I mean, that's her 6th best event. And with all that, the world titles, the Olympic golds, the world records, and many of the fastest swims of all time, just remember that Summer McIntosh did all that while being just 18 years old. She is 19 now, celebrating her birthday just after Worlds ended, but she wasn't during any of those accomplishments. Leaving the Paris Olympics, McIntosh was already on fire, and just 1 year later has managed to one-up herself yet again, getting faster in all of her events. So the question on many swim fans' minds is, will she be able to do the same again? Before this year's World Championships, McIntosh said that she was looking to move training locations and join Bob Bowman at the University of Texas, which I think could be very interesting for her. The main benefit for McIntosh, I think, with this move to Bowman is the fact that Bowman is very good at managing swimmers that have super busy schedules at these high-level meets, the obvious examples being Michael Phelps and Leon Marchand. Once you're so good in so many events, managing your event schedule individual through a week-long meet becomes a skill of its own. It's a skill that very few swimmers while competing at that level actually have to develop, because very few are in that position in the first place. Summer McIntosh was absolutely insane during the 2025 long course season, where she smashed world records, won world titles, and in some cases was winning world titles by absolutely ridiculous margins. When all is said and done, this year may rank as one of the best seasons we've ever seen in swimming history. The fact that she has so far showed no signs of stopping is very scary, and it'll be interesting to see what she does next year after moving training locations. Do you think Summer McIntosh is going to keep breaking world records in 2026? Let me know down below.